Let me tell you all a story about two different times in my life. So in the first one, I'm 15 years old. It's peak COVID, and I've been working on learning how to edit videos, just little gaming videos. That's what you see this channel and all the old videos on it. Basically, that's what I was spending my time doing, right? And eventually, by chance, I got a job with my favorite YouTuber at the time, MMG. Still good friends with him, worked for him for a long time, but during that time period, I just achieved maybe the greatest thing my 15-year-old brain could conceptualize. I remember at the end of the day, I was not happy in life. I didn't wake up in the morning excited. I just kind of did all that just because it felt right, or it maybe gave me some validation or something like that. I vividly remember it was the end of that summer, and I'm sitting in my desk. I just finished a video. I'd done some hard work. I just did something that me 4 months prior would have killed to do, right? Would have absolutely done anything to have the opportunity to do. I remember sitting there and almost feeling like I didn't have anything to be excited about. I had nothing to look forward to, and I wouldn't go as far as saying I was suicidal at that time, but I didn't see joy in life. I saw it strictly as suffering, and I really needed something to change for me to have a reason to live, if that makes sense. And now fast forward to August 2023, which is about 8 months ago from now. Today I'm recording this is April 3rd, so let's flash forward to August 2023. A lot of shit's happened in between now and then, but objectively, if I looked at my life from an outside lens, I would have almost nothing going for myself. Like, shit really would have hit the fan if you looked at it from the average person's perspective, right? I dropped out of college. I had a business that was very far in the red, but I woke up every day happy and fulfilled and really just excited to go live my life. Now, that happiness, I realized after being in this self-improvement space for 3 to 4 years, it really came from four pillars I'm going to talk about later in this video. But let's flash forward 3 months from that point. So now we're in around November, December of 2023, and shit hits the fan. But before this time period, I really didn't think depression was real. Like, I had never experienced anything that I would call depression or had that feeling where almost just pure nihilism, like nothing mattered. Like, I woke up in the morning and I had that feeling of not wanting to get out of bed. Like, there was just nothing to look forward to. There's a couple things that happened. I was going through a breakup. I had a falling out with a close friend, and I had a business absolutely fail. Like, lost a ton of money, lost a lot of purpose, and just I got thrown a complete 180 from where I was at in the months prior. So with this external stuff happening, I turned to what I would call extremely cheap pleasures. I was on my phone trying to drown out the noise in my brain of that breakup and that business failure, probably 8 hours a day. I was drinking way too much anytime I had the chance, eating like absolute shit, fucking putting anything in my body, didn't matter, in the name of bodybuilding. That's the dumbest fucking cope ever. We'll get into that later. But point is, I got back in as big of a rut as I really would say I've ever been in. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago from today, April 2nd, so beginning of March, I saw a video from this Australian guy, and the title of it was Reject Hustle Culture, Embrace Holistic Self-Improvement. And this video spoke to me in a way that no other really could. It was like a smack in the fucking face with how this hit me and how this impacted my day-to-day life. Now, going through that time period of my life where objectively, if you look at it from the outside, shit is just not going well. Like, if you really look at it financially and socially, I was not living a good life that most people would want to live. But I had these four pillars nailed down to a T that I will be discussing. These four things that have nothing to do with money at all. Now, they might lead to money in the future, but they have nothing to do with money, and they completely changed my life for the better. So yeah, about 3 to 4 weeks ago, I implemented these four pillars into my life, and it was putting these things into my life that is leading me to sitting right here. I just did my daily cardio. I've already hit my workout for the day. I've been waking up early as shit, getting my stuff done. It really led me to this point where I can face one of my biggest fears, which is getting in front of this camera and really living according to what I believe to be my purpose. And right now, I'm not making any money, and I'm the happiest I can really say I've ever been in my life. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Charlie. I have been in this self-improvement space for 3 to 4 years now, I would say, since around 2020, 2021. And I've tried a lot of different shit. I've implemented a lot of these habits. I've watched a lot of these YouTubers, and I really feel that I have valuable insights pertaining towards men's mental health, towards niche situations, and I have a lot of information that will resonate with people. And I believe that God put me on this earth to share a lot of the information and really be a voice for positivity in a world where, my gosh, I don't want to get all negative and whatnot, but there's a lot of bullshit in this world that just is killing our generation, and it's fucking disgusting. It's evil. In this first video today, I really want to share with you the 4 things that took me from probably the lowest point of my life to where I am now. So the first thing I want to talk about is something that a lot of people struggle with, myself included, for almost my whole life, and that's going to be diet. The exact cope I had before I did a complete 180 with what I was eating was that, this can't really change my brain. Like, it's just food. It goes to your muscles. Like, yeah, sure, it might affect bodybuilding and stuff like that, but it can't affect your brain. Now, if we want to get all fucking scientific and shit, we can pull up the studies and whatnot on how it affects, how gut health and just the stuff you put in your body affects your brain and your mental. As a first-hand testimony, I'll show a picture from maybe 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a little longer than that. I'll show a picture up on the screen right now, and then I'll show a picture of me right now. But with diet, there's huge benefits, physically and mentally for the most part. Now, right now, I probably have had 10 to 15,000 thoughts go through my head a day. And you're probably saying, well, that's a lot of fucking thoughts. Like, well, I guarantee if your diet is not optimized, you're not eating the diet that I'm going to briefly explain later on and also make a full guide on, I guarantee you have at least 50,000 thoughts going through your head a day. And that is completely terrorizing your mental health, your ability to be productive, your ability to go to the gym, your ability to do hard work. All of it is just getting completely fucking destroyed, all due to your diet. Now, you're not going to understand this until you actually change your diet. It's really impossible to see. You're just going to have to trust someone that's done it before. I can't make you change your diet. I can't make you stop eating the fast food, the fucking seed oils, the processed foods with 50 ingredients in them. I can't make you do that. You're just going to have to make that change for yourself. And I promise you, within 1 to 2 weeks, along with implementing these other pillars, you're going to notice a complete 180 in your mental health. It's almost like you can't not feel present and feel happy just because your brain's so cleared, you're tackling problems that are real. So simply put, I'm going to make a full guide on diet, what I eat, practical nutrition as a 19-year-old that really can't cook for shit. I'm going to be making a full guide on that, on what you can be doing for your specific situations, how much money you have, and all that. But really, you just want to be eating whole foods for the most part. Now, I've slipped up a few times in these past 3 or 4 weeks, for sure. Yeah, I've ate a little protein bar or something like that. But for the most part, I've been eating majority red meat for my protein, ground beef, steak. You can't go wrong there. Eggs and fruit. 85-90% of my diet is there, and potatoes as well. That's almost my whole entire diet. I'll be making a full guide on that, but for the most part, just eat whole foods, avoid the processed shit, learn how to cook. I'll have recipes out, but you probably know what to eat. You definitely know. You understand there's a difference between eating that fucking candy bar and the discipline it takes to not eat it and eating some eggs, right? Like, eggs aren't even that fucking bad, but that's a discipline you have to build, and if you don't do that, this depressive rut that you're likely in if you're watching this video is not going to leave. And don't think, oh, you see people that have bad diets that are perfectly fine, that seem happy. They might be able to get away with it. You have to treat yourself like you are the bottom 1% genetically. Like, if you eat one bad thing, that's going to fuck you up. You've got to treat yourself like that and hold yourself to that standard. And that mentality will completely change your life regarding the diet. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is training, which was the one thing I held together during that depressive rut of my life. Now, the training definitely was not optimal. I definitely was not doing a great job with my training, but I was still getting in there every single day and honestly working pretty hard. Training, you know, obviously the health benefits, you know that you're going to build a physique that you want to have. But mentally, it's a time where you can just go be aggressive and really be a fucking man and tap into your masculinity. And it's just something that every man needs to be doing, whether you're an athlete whether you're just a bodybuilder, whether you would consider yourself just a fucking average Joe, you need to be doing this. It's almost essential to your mental health and your growth as a man. Now, as far as training, a lot of people train different ways. I'm not here to debate what's optimal and all that bullshit. That's not what this video is for. The main priority just needs to be that you're training hard and that it takes discipline and that you're not just going through the motions. I'll be making a full video on the psychology of getting addicted to training and how you can stay consistent and all that. And I think that video will be very impactful for people because I've been lifting for only 1 year. Fuck, maybe even a little less than a year, maybe around 11 months. And I've gone from this physique to this physique. Total 180. I've been skinny fat, I've been fat, I've been skinny lean, I've been all of it. And to get to the point where I am now, it really took getting addicted to it. And every day I look forward to going to the gym. Like I looked forward to that cardio I just did. You see me, I'm still sweaty as fuck right now. I looked forward to that. And I'll be getting into the psychology behind that and on how I stay consistent at my highest and how I stay consistent at my lowest when I felt like I couldn't even get out of bed in the morning. So the next pillar of holistic self-improvement is going to be a protocol that I've put together that I started doing about 8 months ago that completely did a 180 for my mental health. This was by far the most important tactic that I implemented, and it will take you anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes out of your day. 15 to 30 minutes. You have that. Now, if you're trying to cope and say that you don't, you fucking do. Go look at your screen time. Go look at how much time you spend on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, any of that. You have the time. So MJGP is an acronym that I created that stands for meditate, journaling, gratitude, and prayer. Now, I'll go through all 4 of these separately. So M, meditation. Now, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen other self-improvement videos and the benefits of meditation, right? I don't really feel like I need to explain that. You know it's good for you. Now, the way that really made me understand it was putting that same idea that I used for diet, that your brain right now has at least 50,000 thoughts going through it, right? Mine, I've been meditating for about a month consistently now, straight. I haven't missed any days. My brain probably has, if I were to put a ratio on it, around 10,000 thoughts right now. Now, that is a fifth of what is going on in your brain if you're not implementing these tactics. I was unable to feel present in that depressive rut. I woke up wanting to drown myself out of my life. I did not want to live. I didn't want to achieve anything, and my brain was just creating problems, and it was impossible to focus. It was completely impossible to do something like get in front of this camera, which is one of my biggest fears, by the way, or do that cardio, or write in my journal, right? It was impossible. Once you start meditating, those thoughts go down and you start being able to peel off that purpose layer of your life. You're able to live to the true problems, because those 10,000 thoughts I have are the ones that are closest to my brain. Those are the ones that I really need to be having, and that's too many, obviously. These high-level people you look up to, I guarantee they're somewhere in the 1,000 to 2,000 range, to put a quantity on it. They are 500% better than I am. They are fucking a million. I don't even know what number it would be for 50,000, but they are exponentially better, exponentially more clear-headed, and that's why they are able to achieve more and really live according to their purpose. I'm not living according to my purpose right now. This is one of the first things I've done that really is beneficial to my life, and I feel happy and proud about doing it. I have not been living according to my purpose, and it wasn't until I did this for a month straight, had to use the discipline, went through the struggle, but it was doing this practice of meditation that really put me where I am today and ready to just go fucking live life and attack all of my goals, attack all the things that I want to accomplish, and just be a fucking man at the end of the day. Now, to start out, you're going to want to set a timer for 3 minutes, no more if you've never meditated before or you haven't recently. Now, the type of meditation I practice is called mindfulness meditation. So basically, what you're going to want to do is, I like to go outside, just sit in a chair, sit fucking anywhere, and breathe in, and out through your mouth. That's basically what you're going to do for 3 minutes straight. But when you're doing that, what you want to do is focus on your breath. You want to feel that breath come in and go out all the way through your nose, through your lungs, and you want to feel it come back out through your lungs, and you want to feel that breath when it's leaving your mouth. Basically, the whole practice is to work on focus. Now, it may sound all foo-foo, all zen and shit, but this is simple psychology. You're working on your focus, you're working on your brain, you're working on your ability to be present, and that will in turn correlate to every single little thing in your life. When you wake up in the morning, when you go to bed at night, when you're doing your homework, when you're trying to do that deep work, when you're lifting, fucking everything. That 3 minutes of meditation will make those parts of your life more focused and more optimal. Now, the way I like to think about it is, when you're trying to focus on that breathing, in 3 minutes, you're probably going to lose your focus 50 to 100 times your first time meditating. Now, the way to think about it is every single time you lose focus and come back to thinking about your breath again. So, I start thinking about some sort of trauma that's on in my brain that's subconscious and not one of the problems I want to be thinking about. I go right back, and my breath out or my breath in, I reclaim that focus of the breath coming in. And that's the only thing I'm thinking about. My brain is fixated on that feeling. So my camera died when I was explaining the M part of MJGP, and I had some shit to do after, but we're here now a few hours later. So where I left off was talking about the J in MJGP, and that stands for journaling. So the way I think about journaling is you have your subconscious, right? You have all these thoughts that come through your mind every single day, like we talked about with the meditation, with the diet. You probably have somewhere around 50,000, some fucking ridiculous number, right? Journaling is taking all those subconscious thoughts, all that stuff that plagues your brain that keeps you fucking debilitated throughout the day, and it just starts to rid them from your mind. It starts dwindling those thoughts, and it pairs with the meditation, the diet, to just give you a clear, present life as you go forward. One way you can pair it really well with meditation, you have those thoughts when you're meditating, right? That pop in your brain, you try and regain focus and all that. And what I like to do is when I start my journal, I think of those things that were consistently popping up in my brain. I think of the things that came up, 1, 2, 3, maybe even fucking 20 times, right? In separate instances. I think of those things and I start writing them down on paper. So for me, for instance, when I was going through that horrible fucking period of my life recently, all I could think on my mind during that meditation was about the breakup. And all I could think about when I had that falling out with my friend and a business completely shit the bed, that's all I could think about. And I probably have over 10,000 words in my Google Doc writing about them. Now, I use a Google Doc to journal. If you already have done this practice before, I would advise doing it the same way that you've always done. Either use a Google Doc, use a journal. It really doesn't matter. You can have the shittiest handwriting too. You probably won't even need to look back on half of this. It just helps your brain process it and acknowledge a lot of these problems and traumas and stuff that just ruins your mental health every single waking second of the day. To start, I literally write thoughts, just that word in bold, and then get going. Usually I just start with those things that pop in my brain during meditation. And then as you go down, just the rabbit hole keeps going, and you just write what you're thinking, how you're feeling. If you feel good, if you feel happy, if you feel sad, if you feel fucking anything. And it's really a beautiful thing when you can look back on those journals. Like if I went back and looked at my journals from 3-4 weeks ago, I would be like, holy fuck, like this is someone that's just like, it's going through it, right? But now I'm looking at my journals now, and half of it was like, oh, I'm so fucking ready to get after it. I'm so ready to film this video. I'm so ready to go do my cardio. I'm so ready to go just keep getting better. And seeing that is like one of the most rewarding things I've ever felt in my life. It's fucking great. Like I love that shit so much. So definitely start journaling any way you can think of and just get used to that practice. You might start out, you might journal for 3 minutes, and then there might be some days where you want to journal for like 30 minutes because there's just shit that's on your mind that you feel like you need to get out, and you almost want to treat it like a game too. Like the more you write, the more your thoughts are decreasing, the more present you're becoming, the more chance you're giving yourself to be a happy, healthy, grateful human being. So speaking of being grateful, the next part of MJGP is G, which stands for gratitude or gratitude journaling. So after you write that journal, in my Google Doc, I literally click space, gratitude in bold, and I just start writing anything I'm grateful for. A lot of times I like to do this outside. So like the first things I see kind of when I'm thinking about gratitude are, I'll see like the trees, I'll see nature, I'll see water, maybe a chair that I'm sitting in, I'll have a pencil, I'll have a book, very basic shit. And then you can get into some deeper stuff like people in your life, purpose, God, stuff like that. It's important to acknowledge both of those, the small stuff and the big stuff, so that you're just staying, once again, just trying to be present throughout your day. And that is really how we're supposed to think and how we're supposed to act. The way I figured out about this practice initially, and I've heard, if you've seen self-improvement videos, you've probably seen other people talk about this, right? I know Hamza, if any of y'all watch him, is a huge advocate of this, is one of his most talked about topics. I had a teacher in freshman year algebra who every Tuesday with this practice called Gratitude Tuesday, where you'd set a timer for 2 minutes and everybody would just write some things we're grateful for. We're all 14-year-olds. We don't fucking know like why we're doing this at all. It doesn't make any sense. But basically the way he explains it is that there's a study out there, and this really resonated with my mind. I have an analytical mind. I bet a lot of y'all do too. As men, that's just kind of how we're wired. He said there was a experiment done where there was a control group who was asked to practice gratitude journaling and a control group that wasn't. Now I don't know the specifics of the study or whatnot. I'm not going to get all fucking scientific on y'all, but basically the group that practiced gratitude was 20 something 10% happier, or X number. I don't remember what it was, but that just clicked in my brain. I'm like, holy shit, if I just do this practice, like, I'll probably feel more fulfilled, more purpose, more happiness in my life. And that just clicks. Like, it's an input output type thing, as all these different practices and these pillars are. They're input and output. The more you put in, the more you're going to get out. Your brain's going to try and tell you that's not the case. That's your fucking brain just trying to cope, trying to stay the same. It doesn't want to be malleable. Your brain wants to stay the same because where you're at is comfortable right now. But until that pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of changing, you're not going to change. So until you get there, you're probably not going to follow any of these. But with this gratitude stuff, it's such a simple practice. And if you really want to get better, you really don't like the place that you're in, and you really want to go somewhere else, you're going to do the little things like this. And that's what it's going to fucking take. So after gratitude, I go into the next part of MJGP, which is P, which stands for prayer. And it doesn't matter what religion you are. If you're on this channel, more than likely you believe there's a higher power. If you don't, fine. And it really doesn't matter. You can skip this step if you want to. But if you are religious, if you're Muslim, if you're Buddhist, if you're a Christian, it doesn't matter. I'm a Christian personally, so the advice I'll be given in the way I do it will probably correlate to that more so. Basically, what I do first is just give thanks for a couple of those things that I wrote down in my gratitude journal. Even if you're in a negative frequency, even if you're like, damn, like life fucking sucks right now, you're gonna come out of this prayer, you're gonna come out of this gratitude journal with a much higher frequency. And doing this early in the day is why this is so great. It just puts you in a good place to go for the rest of your day. But I'm reading a book on prayer right now because I'm not super advanced in it, and I want to know, I would like to have some more scriptural based knowledge on how to go about it. But basically, the way I've always done it is I give thanks for those things that I'm grateful for, and that's such a great way to start off. And it really encapsulates what the prayer is for and why we're doing it, giving thanks to God, someone that the higher being that put you here and gave you purpose and gave you these opportunities. Like, that's just a great way to start your day, and just a great way to live as children of God. After that, if there's any pain in your heart, if the stuff you wrote down in journal, you've got shit going on, you've got any of that, the number one thing that helped me is being able to give it up to God. So I'm reading the book I'm reading right now on prayer. There's some prompts in it, there's little questions, and one of the things that it asked was just like, when's a time in your life where you prayed and you had that prayer answered? My mind clicked instantly. Like, this was about a week or two ago, and for those past 2-3 weeks I had been just nonstop praying for healing from the pain I was feeling from that breakup, healing from the anguish and just the total cynicism in my life, and not being able to see a life where I wasn't in that relationship. I was just praying for relieving of that anguish, praying that I could see a new life, a new goal ahead, and just see that life really is beautiful, even if you don't have that part figured out, with referring to relationships. And my gosh, so quickly was I just completely shifted in my mindset. And that's 100% one of the reasons why I'm sitting right here in front of this camera, is I have new goals, new ambitions, and all that. And that came strictly through prayer. I would not be here without God, 100%. So yeah, just praying for pains on your heart, praying that God can heal them and do as he pleases with them, and that you're yielding to him and letting him give you what you need to glorify him at the end of the day. So the last pillar of holistic self-improvement that has changed my life is dopamine detox. Now, there's 2 points regarding dopamine detox that I want to talk about. First one, simple. You've seen it all over YouTube. Go delete Instagram, TikTok. You don't need to be watching that short form content. It absolutely fucking derails your brain, your thought process. It's going to add to that 50,000. It just gives you more. TikTok brain and brain rot is a real fucking thing, as much as it is a meme or whatever. I was drowning out all those sorrows and all those thoughts that I didn't want to think with Instagram Reels. I never had TikTok downloaded, but I was sitting on those short form content apps, absolutely droning away, wasting my fucking life. Every single person has a potential that they can reach in your life, and I promise you there's nothing on Instagram Reels or TikTok that is helping you reach that potential, that is glorifying God or anything. It's just not where you want to be. Now, you might get little good tidbits of advice, but overall, as a whole, you're just destroying your brain and destroying just your dopamine receptors, and it's not natural. We're not supposed to be living like that. When you sit there and stim out for 30 minutes on Instagram Reels and you look up and you're like, holy fuck, like I'm like a human being, like I have thoughts. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, holy shit, I need to snap out of it. It's kind of like a derealization a little bit. That shit carries with you for the rest of the day, whether you realize it or not. Your brain is just this percentage worse, less functional, less optimal. It's not even this percentage, it's fucking a lot. Honestly, that's just a bad way to put it. It's a lot worse. It's just not operating even close to how it could. So yeah, you know that stuff's not good for you, and I hope that I can be a first-hand testimony to how terrible that shit is, and a testimony to how much better your life gets after taking it out of it. I really want to make a full video on this as well, and why you do it, the psychology behind it, and really just give some practical advice on how you really can quit those addictions, because they are addictions. It's just like being on fucking fent on the street. It's really, a lot of the wirings are the same. I can't even lie, as crazy as that may sound. Now, the other part of the dopamine detox I want to talk about is education and music. So you probably have a commute from school, work, wherever. You're probably in the car a good amount per day, or you're on a train, you're on something, you're traveling, and what do most people do? They just plug on some music and listen to it, which is like, cool, whatever. Think about the difference between the person who listens to some form of education, at least entertainment, that's not killing their dopamine and making them need this short-term pleasure and filling their subconscious with stuff that's really not relevant or beneficial. The difference between that person that does that every single day and has 1 hour of education, of information, and not fucking up their brain, compared to the person that is just listening to more than likely pretty degenerate music that's filling your subconscious with shit that is not beneficial to you. The person who's listening to education is gonna have 365 hours or more per year of education in their brain. Now, 365 hours is a fuck ton. Like, you could learn a skill with that amount of time, and that's only 1 year. The benefits of doing that, I've noticed, have been ridiculous too. Like, I fill my brain every single morning, every single time in the car, except for when I'm driving to the gym. I'll play some music or whatever. That's a very brief time per day, like a 10-minute drive. 90% of the time when I'm driving, I'm listening to people that have really benefited my life and caused change and contributed to me going from one of the worst parts of my life to here I am now in front of this camera, hopefully living according to my purpose, right? I'll link 3 YouTubers that I typically go straight to when I'm in the car and listen to fucking any long form content. Just staying away from that short form content. That shit's just gonna keep flooding your brain with more thoughts, more useless information that keeps you from peeling back that purpose layer in your life. It's almost impossible to get to what you truly are designed by God to do if you have all this other shit distracting you. It truly is almost impossible. So yeah, I hope this video helped somebody out. I hope there's one thing that I said that could have been beneficial to someone, something that sounded like practical information or resonated with your situation. I truly believe that going about self-improvement in a way that's holistic, focusing on your health and your brain rather than the money and all that other shit, is so beneficial, and it will have tenfold results on your finances and all that at the end of the day, and you'll be able to enjoy it. I had the money. I was borderline suicidal. Nailing down these habits and associating yourself with positive people are gonna be what saves your life. Not the business, not the status, not the money. Fuck all that. That's an absolute lie that's being fed by the internet, and it's filling the pockets of these people. Anyways, I hope y'all have a good rest of your day. I'm sorry this video was split up into 2. I was probably in 2 completely different states. I remember I got out of that cardio and I was just like fucking animalistic a little bit, but more videos definitely to come soon. So God bless y'all.